Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I had spring break this past week and did absolutely nothing but play Sims 4. Definitely could have filmed this video before today, after my first day of work, but I already missed last week, so we're gonna go for a bi-weekly schedule because apparently weekly is not working.
For you.
He asked me approximately...
At least once a day.
Yeah. Would you like to film? No. So.
I am not the computer techie video editing person, so all I can control is my big mouth and talking, which everyone knows that's easily done. But
so excuse the lighting. I would prefer to not have the main lights on, but Will thinks we need them.
Sorry, I like to sit in light and not like a cave.
We had excellent lighting coming in on our faces, but it's all good. We're fine. So we are back with video 2, or part 2 of our love story series. And this one might be a little bit longer. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Might have to divide this up into 2 parts. Because quite a bit happened in this part. So we left off with what? How did we end last time?
I don't remember.
We left off, I think, with just you going to rally and all that. Okay. So we continue talking, you know, that awkward phase in a relationship. We're cooking dinner if you heard the timer or the oven. But so we started off and I was like, I just want to be your friend. That's it. But I would still talk to him pretty much every day. And it was around Valentine's.
Why are you sitting so high?
I'm not sitting high.
Crooked? Look how much shorter I look than you.
I think my torso is longer than yours. I'm just sitting.
Anyway, continue.
Okay, so our you made me lose my train of thought. All right, so nope, it's around Valentine's Day, and I get a text from Will, and I was like very much about like, I'm not meeting with you, like it's not happening. And so he asked me to meet him at Chick-fil-A, like if I would be willing to meet him at Chick-fil-A. And I was like, well, I guess I have views. I drive right past that Chick-fil-A.
This girl can't say no to Chick-fil-A. I knew what I was doing. White girl in the South, Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, whatever, fine, I will go, but don't expect anything. No, actually, you had said, like, I have a gift to give you. And I was like...
Like I said, I have something to give you.
Yeah. And I was like, no, it was a gift. And I was like, what kind of gift? Because I know, like, Valentine's Day is around, and I am very adamantly against that. And I was like... what kind of gift? And he was like, oh, nothing, just a gift. I was like, really? Okay, whatever. Made him tell me after our wedding if that was a friend gift or a Valentine's gift. And you know what his answer was?
What was my answer?
Both. What a cop-out answer. All right, so anyways, back to the story. My brain's all over the place. I clearly taught all day, but not really. And so I get there and I'm like exhausted, you know, usual. And I get out of my car. I was listening to that one song I really like by NF. Everybody's Got a Blank Page, a story that they're writing today or something like that. I don't remember the name of it. Start Over. So I was listening to that, blaring it, you know, the usual. And I go inside and me being myself, I'm like, I come to Chick-fil-A like every morning. So I'm gonna get myself a milkshake. And so I like mobile order a milkshake to my table. and he like comes in and whatever. So then we sit across and he gets his milkshake, or I think you just got a milkshake. I don't think you got food. And we just sit and talk, not very long. And then we go out to the car for my surprise. That's what you called it. And so we get out there, and he opens the door, and it's an Olaf bag, which the car that I had just totaled in my car wreck that I talked about last video was named Olaf. I named my cars. And so I was like, oh, that's really sweet. Like, he listens. So then I like continue digging through the bag, and I see like my favorite candy, Starburst, and Reese's. And I was like, okay, basic, whatever, Valentine's gift kind of thinking. And then...
Big kahuna.
Yes. I wish I had it. I actually should go grab it. So then I pull this out of the bag. Of course, it wasn't like, it was in a box. And it is an ESV Bible. And immediately I was taken back to one of the many phone conversations we had.
It was one of the first, like the second or third one, I think.
Yeah. And I had just given my Bible, I had a She Reads Truth Bible that I had like annotated and all that. And I had just given it to a friend and bought the Passion Jesus Bible. And I was just kind of like talking to him. I was like, man, I really wish like I had just waited instead of like getting this. I think it's NIV or NLT. I can't remember. I was like, because my church uses the ESV like so much, and I wish I just had an ESV Bible. That's all I said. I wasn't like, hey, get me an ESV Bible, none of that. Well, then I pull this sucker out, and I was like, okay, this guy's a little bit different. So that's that. Well, then he's like starting to think he's weaseling his way in, you know? So I had to make sure that that was not the case. And I went with my brother to a concert in Atlanta with my high school best friend and my brother on Valentine's Day. And of course I was texting Will, and I sent him this message, which is going to be in here, reminding him of his place in my life.
Ruthless, I'm telling you. She was ruthless.
It continues on. So do you want to talk about the second one? I've been a lot of talking.
So is this after youth, right?
Yeah, it was a Sunday because
it was Sunday night, and I volunteered with help with youth. So we had our course youth on Sunday night, and I had just gotten done. It was like 8 something, so it's fairly late, or getting late for a weeknight, like Monday starting the next day. And I call Carmen, and she's like, what are you doing right now? And I was like, coming home from youth. Why? And she was like, well, can you come save my friend? She drove off a cliff. I'm thinking, like, first off, we're in Colombia. There is no cliffs in Colombia.
We had planned to go to Cookout too.
After.
Well, I told you changing plans. Yeah.
That's right.
Because it was like President's Day weekend or something.
I had called you and say that I was done and heading that way. That's right.
Yeah.
So, and she was like, change your plans, and my friend drove off the cliff.
I'll insert a picture.
So first off, I'm like confused because there's no cliffs. So like, when I was like, is she okay? Is she alive? Like, you're pretty calm and laughing, as you can see, with your friend having driven off a cliff. So she's like, yeah, text me the address. And she's like, meet us here and help her. So I pull up, and Erin, one of the roommates, or one of the friends
she was a bridesmaid in her wedding,
who didn't get stuck, was on the phone with her, at the time, boyfriend, now husband. And she's trying to walk him through what went on, because he's in North Carolina. So like 2 hours away almost. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So I pull up, and the car is like, basically she just drove over the curb. Like, they have curves where you
we'll
park.
Put the picture that I have.
It was like a little hill, so it wasn't a cliff, it was like a hill. But somehow she had managed to get the front two wheels like over that and stuck, and like she was afraid if she got in the car that the weight would like force her to go
out
down.
Of the car. Yeah.
So I get there and I'm like, well, it's in park, right? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, then the car's not gonna go anywhere. So the first thing we do is have Maddie, the friend that drove off the cliff, get out. And so she's like freaking out. She's like, oh, ground.
And I will never forget Will was like putting his hand on the brake
because she
like had to climb over him.
Because she wouldn't move until she was certain that the car was not going to roll forward. So I was like, fine, I will hold the brake with my hand so you can crawl out of this car. That's not going to go anywhere. So then they're like, well, what do you think we should do? And I was like, just throw it in reverse and gas it. So I get in the car and literally just put it in reverse, slam on the gas, and just right on out. No issue.
Then we went to Cookout and had a great time.
That's where I told, if you know, about the purple flower story.
Yeah.
I told Maddie and Aaron about the purple flowers.
Yeah. And again, Maddie and Aaron were with us because
we still hadn't gone on a solo date.
No. Chick-fil-A didn't count because I was like 10 minutes. I was in and out,
She thought I didn't count.
And
then
then he told me actually at Chick-fil-A or after, I can't remember when he told me this, but he was also going to get me a milkshake.
Yeah.
And
she already got one.
And
I'm pretty sure you got a cookie too.
Yeah, I did. I'm sure. I love the Chick-fil-A cookies. All right. So then moving right on along in growing our friendship, I worked 30-minute drive from where I lived, and I was a scatterbrain as always and forgot my lunch. And Will had started this habit of calling me in the morning before I went to work, and so I was like talking to him on the phone, and I was like, yeah, I forgot my lunch, blah 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 blah.
I was in school at the time, and my job didn't start until like 2:00 in the afternoon. So dedication for all you fellas. Clearly it works. I woke myself up early, so lesson.
So I was like, I had gotten some gift cards and like a giveaway kind of thing, and I was like, it's fine, like I was like already like 10 minutes down the road when I realized I forgot my lunch. And if you don't know, like to a teacher, that's like detrimental because we only have like 20 minutes for lunch by the time we lock the kids' cafeteria and everything. So I was like, it's fine. I'll just order something, have it delivered to the school. It'll be just fine. Well, he's like, oh no, I can make you some spaghetti. Or I can make you something. I have everything I need right here. Not true. So I'm like, no, it's fine. I'll just get something delivered. And he was like, no, like I can really bring you some food. Like I promise it's no big deal. Driving's not that far. It's not that far of a drive, blah, blah, blah. I think you told me you had to come up there or something.
No, I never had to get a chicken. I would not have said that.
Okay. Well, eventually, I guess he just pestered me to death, and I was like, fine, whatever. Actually, I think you told me that you would also bring me Waffle House, not just lunch. And I was like, okay, fine, deal. And that's my side of the story.
So what I really told her was, do you want spaghetti? I asked her if she wanted spaghetti because I have everything for it, and she was like, yes, I love spaghetti. So I didn't have like anything for spaghetti. So I lived like not even 5 minutes from Walmart. So I hopped in the car, zoomed to Walmart, buy all the things for spaghetti, and start cooking it.
Because they also had like a narrow window to get it to me.
So I started cooking it, and then while I was cooking it, I pre-ordered the Waffle House so that would be ready because I passed the Waffle House. And I told her I would bring Waffle House for breakfast because you pass it going to the interstate. So I got the Waffle House done. I got the spaghetti made, and it was like piping hot. And I was like burning my hands trying to put it in the car. So I get it, and I'm like, all right, here we go. So I stop the Waffle House. I start heading to Chapin. Just a straight shot. Thankfully, traffic's gone for the morning. And I show up to the school, and apparently she had told like everybody in the school, because the nurse was like, oh yeah, we knew you were, or not the nurse, the entrance lady, like the
Miss Stacy.
Yeah, the receptionist was like, yeah, we knew you were coming. Come on in. Her room's such and such. You just go this way to get to it. And I was like, okay. So I'm walking back there with Waffle House in one hand and a plate of spaghetti in another hand.
And you see, like, all my coworkers, they kind of go, like, out their windows. Yeah. So he brought me spaghetti, and to this day, I absolutely love it, but I also despise it because I can be so not happy with him, and he makes spaghetti, and it's like instantly transported back into that moment. So, very aggravating, but very sweet at the same time. Mm-hmm. So, I love spaghetti. All right. That's a different one. So, we have some notes here so we don't forget anything. So then we moved on to this one. Do you remember this one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What?
Do you want to share? Or do you want me to share?
So, she invited me over to her house for game night with the two roommates or two friends that got stuck on the cliff. Maddie and Aaron. They were going to be over there and just play games. So we played, what did we play?
We played that 5-second
rule,
yeah. And then the number game where I got injured.
Yeah. It sounds so stupid, but it's a great game.
I have a scar.
Anyway, so just having a good time playing games, and it was getting like 9 o'clock, something like that. Aaron and Maddie are both in school. So, they're like, you probably need to get going. So they had a test or something, I don't know. And I was like, after they left, or as we were leaving, I, of course, lingered in the back, had to be the last one to leave because I had to propose the question, which I knew was going to work. Because if women get hungry. And when women get hungry, they get hangry. So to avoid getting hangry, they eat. And you know who loves to eat also? This guy. So I lingered back to avoid the hangerness of Carmen and was like, hey, why don't we go to Cantina 76?
No, he said, I'm feeling hungry. Do you want to go grab a bite to eat or something like that? And I was like, sure, whatever. Keeping in mind, like, I had guy friends in college, and I was like, oh, I went out to dinner with them. Like, it's fine, no harm. I'm just going to make sure.
Little did she know.
Like, it's not a date.
So we went there. We had a great time. Went to Cantina 76, which is a very Americanized taco Mexican place. It was ending up, and the waiter comes up.
Hold on, real quick. Keeping in mind, like, at this point, I was very aware of how much I was starting to catch feelings for him. And I was, like, playing with my hair. So I was, like, sitting on my hands because I was, like, not wanting to tell him that I had feelings. I wanted to keep it
feelings, nothing more than feelings.
Sealed in the duct tape box.
So we getting ready to go, and the waiter comes up and he says, so is it gonna be 1 check or 2? And before he can even say 2, Carmen just goes, 2 checks, please.
I said 2 checks.
And the waiter was like, okay, sounds great. So he goes, gets the 2 checks, and for me, I was like, dang, thought I was making a lot of progress here. Guess I gotta keep digging harder to continue to make progress.
See? Not a date. I paid for myself.
Yeah, so then, was this the same night?
Yeah.
So then we back to her house because Carmen is terrible at driving at night.
And you also drove because the parking at Cantina is horrible.
Yeah, so we took one car. Again, come on, guys, you gotta be thinking.
I will say, the parking at Cantina was absolutely awful.
She gets very stressed out.
I hate it.
Play your advantage points, my guys. Anyway, so we get back to her house, and I walk her to the door. And like I wasn't even trying to walk in by any means.
I was very respectful.
She lived very close to the ghetto. She was in Rosewood in Columbia, and if you know where Rosewood is, you know it's the hood, most of it. She says she was in the good part. There is no good part of Rosewood. It's all ghetto. But anyway, so I walked her like to the door, and I was gonna just turn around, and before like I could say anything, she like slams the door in my face. Like me here, door here, slam. Like my nose, I think, could have touched the door with how close I was. So I was like, dang, all right, cool. So I just turned around, walked to my car, sit in the car for a bit, just looking at my phone, seeing if anybody texted me or whatever. Just kind of thinking what just happened. And then like my door opens up and I'm freaking out. So I was like, great, I'm about to die. Murder in Rosewood. And she's like, did I leave my phone in here? And I was like, I don't know, I don't see it. So then I go in her house, so I'm trying to help her find her phone. So I'm like calling it and stuff. She finally finds it, I don't remember where.
None of my roommates were home.
She finally finds it, and...
Or I would have just asked them to call it.
And so I'm like, all right, great, I'm going. So I'm like getting ready to leave, and I like turned around. I don't even know what I was trying to say. I was like, bye or something. And again, bam, door here, face here, like nose could poke it, I think. I was like, oh, dang, 2 times in a row. And I had already told her that night that I may go to a friend's party who was turning, I think she turned 21.
Yeah.
It was a girl, so that, she was getting a little jelly beans. Which also, guys, smart move. Make her jealous.
No!
Let's see what she was really feeling.
Not good to play with my heart.
You push a cat in the corner and you see the claws come out, and this one's claws came out. So, no, I was just going because it was a friend's birthday. So I went, and, it was not a good time.
A typical 21st birthday.
They were literally 2 people playing Pong, and everyone else was just standing around the outside talking, and I was like, I don't know anybody but this girl, and yeah, like not the crowd I would hang out with. So I stayed. Thankfully, they were deciding to go downtown to 5 Points, which is like the big college party area of all the bars and stuff. I was like, nope, I'm gonna go home. Like, this party's, I've reached my limit. So I went home, and then apparently Carmen was very jealous while I was
like,
party.
Who is this girl he's going to go see? Like, I was not very happy. So then this all leads up. It's like a Sunday, and we went to different churches. I don't know if we've said that. And so I'm getting out of church, and Will texted. I went to a later service, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to have gone to the later service. And so Will texted me. He was like, hey, you want to come join us for lunch? And I was like...
Yeah, so the youth were doing a project for... I think that was the day someone was moving, so we were helping them like fix up the house and clean and that kind of things. And it was going to be a nursing home. Maybe it was a nursing home. I don't know. We had some event with the youth that we were all going out to lunch and just hanging out. Yeah, so it was at a Moe's. So he sends me the address. I'm like, no, like, I don't want to be, like, intrude. Like, that's your time with your youth. Like, I don't really want to do that. But deep down, like, I wanted to do that. But I was like, no, like, we're just friends. So, and I never wanted to be, like, that girl that you're like, please just, can y'all stop hanging out? So I was like, no, it's fine. And he was like, no, like, you really should come. Like, you can meet, like, people and all this other stuff. And I was like, fine. So I drove and met him there. And you can take it from here because this is one of my favorite lines. So, of course, everybody was like, oh, Will, who's this? Because I am pretty private with my personal life. Like, I don't share a lot with people. And, like, until, like, it's something, like, I don't want to tell everybody about this girl named Carmen. And then nothing happens. And then they're like, oh, dude, what happened? Where's Corbin? So, no, I saved myself from that. And so, of course, everyone's like, oh, what do you know, who's that? Who's that friend? And Davidson Jones. We should insert Davidson, like a picture of him. And I'll never forget, like, so first everyone moved, so it's like a table just with Carmen and I. And I was like, okay, you suckers. Like, they set us up. But Davidson walks by with his tray in his hand, and he goes, is this a friend or is this a... And he bumped up his glasses, or friend, and then he bumps up his glasses and keeps walking.
And then, yeah, it was one of my favorite stories.
Is this a friend or a friend?
Yeah. So then we quickly kind of progress. We're moving right along. This whole, like, time span is, like, about a month. Mm-hmm. That, from, like, when we met to, like, when we started dating. Will was invited to a wedding, and he, like, asked me a question. He was like, I have a not so intentional question to ask you. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, I got invited to a wedding and I have a +1. Would you want to go with me? And I was like, let me pray about it. Like, I was like, we ended up going. But
well, it was a COVID wedding, so it got delayed. And then, funny enough, we were just still dating at the time, like when the wedding actually happened. But they had put us like Mr. and Mrs. Lawyer, like Carmen and William Lawyer.
Yeah.
And this was like we had been dating a couple months. We both got a kick out of that because now it's true.
Yeah. So then around that same time, Will invited me to Krispy Kreme, and your roommate Braden was supposed to come, but for some reason him and his girlfriend bailed, and it was just Will and I at Krispy Kreme, and I am not a very clean eater, and I just remember having the glazed donut. Of course I had to get milk with it, and the donut was just like falling apart in my hands, and Will was just kind of looking at me like
yikes.
So then I started to tell him I was intrigued by him and started petitioning for more spaghetti. And then he came over and made spaghetti. And then this is kind of where everything kind of settles out. He comes back to Raleigh, you know, because it's the next month, and I'm exhausted, usual. And I'm serving again, usual. And I was like texting him because at this point, like, I felt comfortable enough to ask him to do stuff for me. And I was also like testing the water to see, like, is he gonna do this or not? And so I was like, hey, like, do you mind bringing me like a coffee from Starbucks? Like, I'm really tired, blah, 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 blah. Like, on your way to Raleigh. And he was like, sure. So then he walks in the door, and I'll never forget it. He had coffee in one hand and, like, you know, the Starbucks bag in the other, like the little paper bag that they have. And he hands it to me, and it's a cake pop in my coffee. And then he kind of walks off, and I don't know where, I think he went to go get food. And my friend Erin, like, looks me dead in the eyes, and she was like, what a nice friend you have there, Carmen. And I was like, I know, he's so great. And so then I was like, okay, fine. So then I went down to Hilton Head Island in South Carolina with my family, and I think Jackie was still my roommate at the time. And my roommate Jackie, we went down to Hilton Head for just the like weekend, spent some family time together. My aunt and uncle, cousins were there. And like the whole time I was there. Plus some girl talk, you know, with Jack. And I was like, I just really wish like he was here right now. And that's not cool enough for me to like invite a guy friend to Hilton Head, you know? And so then that's when I was like, gosh darn it, this man has won me over.
Weaseled my way in.
And I think that's it.
Next video, are we going to talk about how we officially started dating?
Yeah. What word do we want them to say if they watch this far?
Or Jonesy. Jonesy. Jonesey. Comment Jonesy if you watch this far.
All right. Thank y'all for
dinner time.
Dealing with us. We're going to go enjoy dinner. Don't know when we'll be back. Y'all have a good one. Bye.